Game on.
And it's fair to say that Mensur hasn't fully thrived on home soil in the past, but maybe, just maybe, there is a first time for everything. Has the advantage of throwing first as well. Barney, let's not forget, will play a very, very active part in this one as well. He's not here just to make up the numbers, as you can well imagine. A 6-1 win last night against Mark Wilson, and perhaps looking to build on what he achieved last weekend in Saarbrücken when he made the third round, losing to Michael van Gerwen 6-5. Then again, things won't get much easier from here on in, because the winner of this will face James Wade. So there you go.
Yeah, it's never easy, especially when you're involved in a session like this where the talent is just everywhere. Atmosphere is very reminiscent of what we saw 12 months ago, like you say, Rob. And Barneveld had a little natter with him backstage for about 30 seconds. He's so relaxed at the minute. But when he's on stage, I think he's finding his old mojo a little bit. And it's great to see. Last week he looked like a totally different player. But you're right about Suljović, though. He hasn't really thrived in the Austrian Darts Open yet. But if he were to win this title, boy, oh boy. Imagine the scenes.
100.
Well, as I said, they have met plenty of times before. 10, in fact. 1 draw, 6 wins for Barney, and 3 defeats for Barney as well. Their most recent encounter was in the Premier League earlier this year. Barney and Mensur drew that one 6-all. That was in the 3rd week of this year's campaign. They also met in the Premier League last year. Barney came out on top in that one 7-5, and they also met in the Masters at the start of last year as well in the semi-finals, and once again it was Barney who came through by 11 legs to 7. So he's unbeaten in 3 in his last 3 encounters against Mensur Suljović. But this, somewhat surprisingly,
140.
maybe not surprisingly given the lengthy absences of Raymond van Barneveld from the European Tour, is actually their first meeting on the European Tour stage.
110.
There might have been 1 or 2 around about the 2015 mark, but there we go. They never have encountered each other before on this particular circuit, so a first time for everything. Barney down to 32 on the Suljović throw.
Looking at the 14s here. Single 20 leaves an open tops. Hates tops. Hates it. Not anymore. And he's going to come full throttle tonight as Mensur Suljović. How many headbutt celebrations and pointing to the crowd are we going to get tonight? This is going to be good.
A fair few, I would have thought.
I love the amped up Suljović. And earlier in his career, he was just emotional and eccentric. He has morphed into this popular, eccentric, darting athlete with so much in the way of idiosyncrasies that is just so watchable. That win at the Champions League, I've mentioned on a few occasions, I was so privileged to be there, and he beat Barneveld there with one of the best finishes I've ever seen. Barneveld's on a double after 9, and what does Suljović do? He takes out 160.
And he can do that sort of thing every now and then. He can just produce these rabbits out of the hat, and when he does, it's spectacular.
Even after that win, he had the audacity to say that he wasn't going to win the title. He couldn't even beat Gary Anderson. No, I'm not going to win the title. Of course not. It's ludicrous. Well, proved himself wrong. Well, you know it's a home game when the fans have given you at least 5 chances and we're only in the second leg.
100.
I think even Phil Taylor hasn't got this many songs.
Back-to-back quarter-finals for Mensur on the European Tour recently. He made the last 8 at the German Open in Saarbrücken. He made the quarter-finals in Munich as well. He was a semi-finalist in Leverkusen at the start of the year. He was somewhat unfortunate to lose to Michael van Gerwen in that one by 7 legs to 5. Barney looking at 60 then, looking at tops now for a leveller.
60.
And Suljović may well step in, and if he does take out this 107, expect the decibel levels to raise a degree or two as well.
He might go 19s first here, because if he gets the single, 60 for double 14.
Oh, he's gone the wrong side, yeah, he's angry with himself for that, because that was an opportunity, having just applied a little bit of pressure. But there's pressure on Barney's shoulders here with this double 10, but as he's done so many times in the past, he has come up with the answers when he needs them, and it's one leg apiece.
What a glorious guide that was for that double 10. And I think Barney is seriously enjoying this game. And even though he's had this glittering 25-year career, Raymond van Barneveld, he's seen a lot of different atmospheres in lots of different countries. But we saw it 12 months ago, Rob. There's something rather special about Graz and Mensur Suljović matches. And I think he digs the fact that he's part of this. There's young Tarek.
Yeah, he's certainly digging it as well. And yeah, I think it's a very different crowd to the one that we've seen in Vienna. I think they're a little bit more reserved there, but here they just seem to let go a little bit more. I mean, I've taken a few walks around the arena during intervals and during our rotation as well when I'm not in commentary, and it's a terrific atmosphere out there. It's very hot, it's warming up, but it's all very good-natured, and there is this sense of expectation because of Suljović being the big ticket and the big draw tonight as well.
He's taken his time as Mensur, and I can say after walking backstage during the last match, it is heating up in there, and all you've got to do is look at the brow of the likes of Mervyn King and James Wade from the previous match just to get the proof of how warm it has become in this arena. It's not easy to play in here when it gets hot. And look at that little wiping of the brow twice from Suljović there. Barney looks comfortable.
100.
Yeah, I mentioned that run to the semi-finals last year. He also, Mensur, made the semi-finals of this tournament in 2014 when he lost to Vincent van der Voort, who I believe went on to win the title that year as well.
Indeed.
Van der Voort beat him 6-3 in that semi-final. But in 2012 he was beaten in the first round. He lost in the first round in 2013. Of course, this was the time when, or before, Mensur had become a giant of the game.
Well, it's a miss from Barney. Went for the treble 11. Not really sure why he did that. Had lots of time on his side. Could have gone for a treble 15 or even a 25. Decided to go for the aggressive treble 11 route. Ultimately, it didn't really make any difference because he's left himself on double anyway.
125. Raymond, you require 16.
So for a first break throw in this match, Barney gets it. And out of the two players right now, looking at their body language, RVB looks way more comfortable than Mensur.
Yeah, and the crowd have just been silenced a little bit because after all the initial furore surrounding Suljović's arrival on stage and the expectation, there is this now dawning, this realisation that Suljović is obviously up against a very, very talented individual in the shape of Raymond van Barneveld, who kicks off with a ton 80 in this fourth leg as well. And I just hope if Suljović doesn't make it through, that the tournament doesn't fall flat. I'm pretty sure it won't, but there is now this weight of expectation on Suljović to keep the tournament alive for the host nation.
The amount of chalk that Mensur Suljović has applied to his dart hand is probably the amount of chalk that Keith Deller used in his career. It's almost like he was drawing something on his hand. He was using that much of it. I think he's feeling the effects of the temperature in here. Well, there's no real rhythm with Mensur's action tonight. He just doesn't look comfortable to me.
He looks to be pulling a little bit as well, and it's all very staccato. There's a massive gulf between the averages at the moment. 22 points there or thereabouts between the two of them. Mensur down in the low 80s there we see.
I've got to applaud you on that word.
What's that?
It's very staccato. That's very apt for Austria.
Well, as we are in Austria, yeah, we talked about Salzburg earlier, the birthplace of Mozart, of course, and yeah, it just must have been preying on my mind.
Double 14, he's done it again, Barney, but this time he's got the 3-dart combo. Fantastic stuff from RVB. Again, he didn't need to go for the 11. But maybe he's just trying to get himself on the double 14 to rub some salt in the wounds of Suljović.
Treble 20, treble 11, double 14. It's telling. It's psychological pressure from Raymond van Barneveld as well. That's a 12-dart hold for a 3-1 lead.
I told you he was relaxed backstage. He has gone up there uber relaxed. The only tension we're seeing is from the hometown matador. I was talking to Ray yesterday and I said to him, "You're looking very slim.
91.
You look like you've lost some weight." And we mentioned this last night, didn't we?
In the Wilson game.
Yeah, about how he just looks thinner in the face. And you can tell when someone is feeling comfortable and there's just no pain in the throw, there's no real effort. It never has been, really. But it's the facial expression of Barneveld that tells the story tonight. There are points of real grit, and when he's throwing, those eyes are not flickering.
No. And also we saw there when Suljović stepped up to the board to retrieve his darts, he was really labouring there. He was wiping his face with both sleeves, and he just looked to be really laboured and just a little bit bogged down by the whole occasion. He's not really got going. He had the opening checkout of 74 for a 1-0 lead, but since then it has been all one-way traffic. It's been an orange river of leg after leg so far for Barney.
I hate to say it, but I think Raymond's taking his foot off the gas here a little bit, and he's allowing Suljović to try and get back into this match, but it's not looking likely. His accuracy on the 60 has been lacking until that point.
And that could be telling, because as you say, Barneveld just allowed Suljović to keep himself interested in this leg. I mean, there's no need to be too aggressive here for Barney. It's in the Suljović throw, but obviously I think Barney would be wise to try and wrap this up sooner rather than later, because as soon as Suljović is allowed back in, he can build momentum so easily. 82 away.
Interesting. He went bull, which leaves 82, then 54 off that leaves 28. That's a new way. I like that one. Well, no finish opportunity for RVB. So Suljović, you feel, in moments of stress, he finds every way to leave double 14. It will be a 20. Will it be a double 14 to get the gap to 1? Good guide.
The insurance policy pays dividends, doesn't it, for Mensur Suljović? Turns to his old friend in his hour of need, and the old friend comes up with the reassurances that he craved.
100.
I remember earlier in my career playing against Mensur, and we talked about his love for double 14 even 8-9 years ago, and some of the ways that he would go, like 108 for instance, he would go 60, single 20, double 14, and you just know that he's going to get it.
Just another word about the crowd as well, by the way, in the early stages of this leg. We talked about the cosmopolitan lineup of the players on display this weekend, but there's definitely a cosmopolitan feel about the car park as well, because as Suljović wraps in that 180, the crowd are finding their voice. We are in southeast Austria. We are close to the border with both Hungary and Slovenia, and there are cars from both nations parked outside. They've made their way over. It's still a bit of a journey, but there is foreign representation in the crowd as well.
That's great to see. You can see from this camera angle just how the darts are landing in the board. Both Van Barneveld and Suljović get them to lie flat, and they're looking to gather the darts over the top. Now, Barneveld has this trick where he stunts the backlift of the throw if he wants to try and get it underneath, and forces it a little bit more. Doesn't do it very often because he doesn't have to.
95.
But Suljović is all about gathering over the top, and he's doing a better job in this sixth leg, but it may be in vain.
Well, he was on 168 there, a bogey number, but I was half expecting Mensur to take out a 140 to leave himself at 28 once again. 73 though for Suljović for a break of throw, and there's not too much margin for error here. He's now looking at double eights, and Suljović is back in business, and the crowd have found their voice once again, and all of a sudden there's a very, very different feel about this match now. brilliant response by Mensur.
Game on.
I tell you what, Rob, I don't know what is going on with this new little idiosyncrasy of Suljović, but I am really interested by it. He hits a winning double on that 73 combo there. He walks away from the board and he starts flicking that right hand away like he's dealing cards at poker. He's doing it constantly and I have no idea why, but I'm really interested and I'm going to have to start
57.
talking to the Suljović camp to see what he's doing. Just watch out if he wins another leg and see what he does by flicking that right hand to his right hand side. Looks like he's dealing cards.
60.
Whether it's a way of getting rid of excess chalk on his hand maybe, or any perspiration on his arm.
Well, if he is playing cards, he's clearly got a few aces up his sleeve, says Mensur Suljović, because he's back on terms at 3 apiece now. And yes, we've seen the double 14, but once again, Suljović has the versatility which he's displayed. He's also finished on double 20 and double 80. He is by no means a one-trick pony.
I'll tell you what, after 3 legs, I thought Mensur Suljović was drawing dead. But he has started looking through the deck to find some jokers, because the way he's fought back into this match is vintage Suljović. Starting to find that 60 now. Got his range.
145.
And he's starting to strangle Van Barneveld with good scoring.
Barney has just become a little bit hit and miss as well. 58, 138, 57, 140, 60. He's flip-flopping between consistent scoring. He's consistently inconsistent, if you know what I mean.
Okay, watch out. If he gets his double, watch his right arm. He's got to go to the right of that blocker dart.
Raymond you require 144.
He starts at tops.
No shot at the 144. Just coming up a little dry, like you say, Rob. He's not giving himself as many opportunities as he had earlier on in the match.
And let's see if he plays the cards again.
There it is. I'm not sure if he knows he's doing it.
Well, whatever it's doing, it is working. 3 legs without reply for Mensur, and he's 2 away, and given the momentum he has, it's all about how he just handles himself from here on in. I think he would like the safety blanket of another break of throw on the Barneveld throat.
Yeah, there's no safety blankets in darts. I think the closest thing you'd probably get to a safety blanket is double 14 for Mensur Suljović.
There we go. Barney, 140 kicks off, backs it up with a 58. He's had big visits and then visits without a treble, and that has been a recurring theme over the last 2 legs.
Well, he's got to get a 140 from there, surely. That was begging to be hit. And they'll be both looking at the 19s from here. Barney looking at 7 of them. Oh, that's unlucky. That might have been off the 7 wire, though.
Oh, and then he's hit a single 5 as well. Now, okay, he's still involved, but Suljović can steal a significant march on his opponent here.
Well, he's got away with that miscount from Suljović. Now, staying on the 20s from the 265 is a risky bit of business. But, boy, did he come up trumps there.
Yeah, 'cause of course 95 guarantees you a finish on 170, so Barney's down to 107.
Options from 131, traditional 60 route. He's 116, so has to rely on a Barney miss now. And more often than not, Barney should get a shot at a double from 107. 2 pops at the treble. There it is. Single 18 for double 16 for an equaliser.
Oh, Barney, terrific stuff. Because Suljović on double 18, if he comes inside, he's looking at double 9. He loves that portion of the board. I really fancied Suljović to finish the job had he got the opportunity, but he didn't get the opportunity. And Barney ticks off another leg to get him back on terms at 4 apiece. It's well, far from a high-scoring encounter, it's certainly an absorbing one, and maybe Van Barneveld has just found a little extra all of a sudden. 180 he kicks off.
I'll tell you what, Rob, I would gladly postpone the Ian White-Jamie Hughes match to watch this one go best of 35. I'm really enjoying this game. Great atmosphere, great players.
Yeah, Barney's average has dipped to around about the 96 mark. He was borderline 104 or so when he was leading by 3 legs to 1. And that has coincided with a slight upturn in the fortunes of Mensur Suljović on his scoring. But he's also tightened up on his finishing as well. He's now 4 from 7. 4 from 7 plays 4 from 6. That's a good illustration of where we're at in this game.
Yeah, very healthy.
Saw those guys arrive this morning, actually. They've been here all day.
Fair play to them.
100.
I don't know who their nominated
Entry
driver was, by the way.
156.
The taxi man. 60s are plenty needed here for the RVB shot. Comes up short. And this is such a tight match. I'm surviving on a diet of fingernails.
Require 121.
Now, this would be typical Barney if he takes this. Now, treble 11 again.
I would not put it past him, and he has found the treble 11, and it's left. You guess what?
93.
3 times he's had a poke at that. Once he's got it, twice he hasn't.
I don't think Mensur will go double 14 here.
Doppel acts in.
Just wide of the mark, Mensur.
Listen to that! Suljović is here. Oh, he tells us how it went in. Swung at it at the end. Give it a 6.0. He's 5-4 up.
One away, Mensur Suljović from a place in the last 16 and a place in the final day on the European Tour on home soil. Of course, this year he will have 2 European Tour events in Austria to look forward to. We'll be in Vienna at the end of the summer. But here and now it's all about Graz for Mensur.
I hate to see it because he is from Vienna, right?
He lives
but
in Vienna,
the atmosphere's better in Graz. Apologies to everybody in Vienna, but it's just true. So if you're listening to this and you're going to Vienna later in the year, bring your game, bring your atmosphere,
make it happen.
Up the ante. Good response from Barney in leg 10. Here comes Mensur.
They are sensing something special in this leg as well.
85.
Barney can't leave the 170. Now, Mensur's got to be smart here from 262. He may need the 18s, or he could just fill that 60 bed. Does it. Second. Third. Consecutive 180s from Suljović put him in pole position to potentially win this battle of the giants.
100.
Barney's down to 85, but it's Suljović who will have a first crack on the Barney throw. He's potentially on course here for an 11-darter to wrap it up with a 6-4 win. That would be some way to sign off for Mensur Suljović.